Peterhead Gear Company was founded in this factory in Windmill Street after the war. It was to grow in 20 years to be one of the major employers in Peterhead. The first large development in the company was in 1956 when an American company came knocking at its door. The company had what the Americans were looking for, a young dynamic management waiting to expand the company and bring prosperity to this corner of the Northeast. The Americans had what the company wanted, finance, work and expansion in mind. Although Euclid GB had only been founded in 1951, they bought out the Peterhead Gear Company. The premises in Windmill Street were too small for their plans. The Euclid Road Machinery Company of Cleveland, Ohio was an earth-moving company founded in 1931. They moved slowly into expansion in 1950, taking factory space in Newhouse, Lanarkshire. In 1953 they became part of General Motors, and in 1954 they were a division of GM Overseas Operations. By 1958 Newhouse had increased sixfold, and this new factory being built at Crossroads would almost double the Peterhead operations. Despite the outward appearance of prosperity and expansion, the company was experiencing a slowdown in the market. Windmill Street was working a short week. The parent company saw this as only a cyclic phase in the marketplace, and building carried on apace on the two-bay factory and office block. By September, work was complete, and the fitting out of the interior was well underway. With new machinery arriving, everything was falling into place. The American party flew in from the States for the opening, which was important enough to warrant a visit. And the Union Jack flew alongside Old Glory for the opening of this new factory by Provost Robert Foreman. There was a lot of interest from the Scottish media, and the event was given a good coverage in the press. The Americans were excited and pleased with the publicity. Local folk got a chance to view the factory, whilst the dignitaries dined at the palace. The Americans were always interested in what went on in Peterhead and would visit at least every 2 years. The MD of UK division would drop in regularly to see how the factory was running and check on progress as extra bays were added. The demand kept increasing for earth-moving equipment not only in Europe but also throughout the world. The Peterhead workers found them working in their own backyard as the factory grew. The 2 bays had become 3, and then 4. The walls and roof trusses going up rapidly. Then, slowly, the roof was clad, and the interior fitted out. When the 5th bay was added, they had reached the depth of the site, and the only thing left was to extend the bays. The height had to be increased to fit in one of the new machines, and again the Americans were here for the handover. But the factory was accustomed to visitors, not only from Britain, but also from throughout the world. One worker penned this poem on the occasion of a visit from the Vice President of General Motors, no less. He was coming to see operations in Scotland and flew in from the States. The poem is entitled Pals. Fleers I sweep it, Pintons Dean, place just doesna look the same, gaffers fleeing back and fore, scrapping rubbish, seen no more, looks like it's a hallowed place. In the fleer you can see your face. Grass is cut, gardens weeded, I ken some hooses Sarah needn't, and for fit is a this panic, visitors fae another planet. Nah, it's all money stays for the States, coming over to see his mates. Quality control was one of the things the American company was very keen on. Testing was carried out at all stages of the production. Specialist equipment was installed, but traditional methods were also used. Individual components or finished products, all were batch tested. Peterhead could not always provide the skilled workers needed, so the company trained apprentices in engineering skills. They cooperated with Cleveland Twist Drill and Caledonian Engineering to set up a training association unit in Peterhead. It dealt not only with the theory, but also with the practical side of engineering. Young lads were often more interested in the practical side of engineering than the theoretical. The yearly certificate gave encouragement and incentive to further their studies. At the end of their 5 years apprenticeship, they then became fully fledged engineers. For many, just a dream 5 years ago. Safety training is important, as one day it will come in handy on the shop floor. The company was aware of workers' health and safety long term, as well as short term. I use the term workers and not men, since the company employed young women on engineering work. They also introduced other ideas from the States with monthly joint consultative discussions and a two-way system of communication, which led to a good working relationship. Also, pension scheme, free life assurance, and sickness benefit scheme. Working conditions had changed since the Windmill Street days. The range and size of machines increased. Drilling, turning, horizontal and vertical boring machines, turret and profile lathes, gear cutters, milling and grinding machines, and a tool room to make and maintain the tools, jigs, etc. The range of products had changed. Not just gears, but Fuller manual transmission, various models of Allison's transmission, also an assortment of precision components and parts. Throughout the life of the factory, demand fluctuated, but the workforce grew steadily from under 100 to nearly 500. Over the years, names were changed. Euclid GB became General Motors Scotland, and the Euclid trademark became Terex, for King of the Earth, from the Latin words terra, earth, and rex, king. American HQ changed from Cleveland, Ohio to New York, then over to Hudson, Ohio. To the workers on the shop floor, the changes were academic. They kept their heads down and got on with the job. What they were producing was getting the power of the horse to the wheel on the ground. A truly earth-moving experience. When the 2000th transmission was made, it was a high point. These units were shipped out to Newhouse, ready for fitting into their units. It wasn't all work, for there were after-work activities. Picnics were a highlight of summer. The sun was always shining. Smiling faces all around. Well, there was the odd tear. Once the grub was sorted out, it was one big jamboree. There was a lot to sort out. How many buses? What about our prams? Off at last. We're on our way. Got ourselves sorted out. It is such a super day. Don't forget the empties. In the winter, it was parties. Not forgetting Santa Claus. The excuse was